Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging into something really quite unique. It's one individual's perspective on, well, everything: global peace, society, faith, science, all drawn from a YouTube video called A Campachon World Peace Message by someone named Pankaj Kumar.
Yeah, it's quite a source. And our mission today really is to unpack it, to pull out the core ideas and see how it connects seemingly really different things.
Right, like religious beliefs and cutting-edge tech, geopolitics, the state of humanity.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It feels like his personal philosophy, but also, a kind of call to action for you listening.
Absolutely. And what's fascinating, I think, is how personal it is, yet it paints this huge picture of the world. It definitely makes you think about the big questions, human nature, where we're headed. You get this mix of deep spiritual belief and some very down-to-earth, sometimes surprising observations.
Okay, so where does he start? He grounds it in a pretty universal human desire, right? Using religion to kind of frame that longing for something better.
He does, yeah, that's really his starting point. He looks at different ideas about the afterlife almost as a setup. He mentions the Hindu view, going to heaven for apsaras like Ramba, Urvashi, Menaka.
Celestial beings, right?
Exactly. Then the Muslim perspective, Jannah and the 72 Hours, companions in paradise. But then he says something interesting about the Christian view, that for him, they've already built their heaven and Jannah right here on earth.
Oh, okay, so he's using those ideas.
To pivot,
Yeah.
He's saying, look, everyone wants this perfect state, but we need to build it here, on earth. It's up to us.
And it comes from a very personal place for him, too, you mentioned. Something about being a father.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
He frames it explicitly as wanting to give his son a good education, and that seems to fuel this larger vision. And he shares this fundamental observation he says he got from his own struggles. God created humans, and humans created religion, and all religions together created law.
That kind of flips the usual script, doesn't it?
It does. He's suggesting our laws come from human constructs, not directly from the divine. It's a very pragmatic thought, especially given his faith.
Which then leads him to this really urgent worry about a third world war.
Yeah, he sees the world heading that way, and he desperately wants humanity to survive, to even become immortal, he says. But for that to happen, he believes Earth has to become heaven. It's a plea for us to choose a different path, essentially.
So this vision of Earth as heaven, driven by faith, by personal motivation, but then he brings in science. That seems like quite a leap.
It is, yeah. And he focuses on something very specific, almost sci-fi: male and female robots. His point is that this tech could potentially make human male-female interaction, well, unnecessary, which raises huge questions about relationships, reproduction.
Whoa!
Yeah. And it leads him to ask this question directly to you, the listener: science, a boon or a curse?
Makes you stop and think.
Definitely. He wants you to consider where all this technology is really taking us.
And he brings his own faith right back into that mix, doesn't he? Believing Lord Ram and Lord Shiva's teachings are the way to make Earth heaven. He mentions his trust in Lord Shiva specifically.
Yes, his faith is central. And he also points to something like the discovery of family planning back in 1952. He sees that ability to control procreation as a key tool, almost, for deliberately shaping humanity's future, giving us a conscious role in our own evolution, you might say.
Okay, so we've got the personal vision, the role of science, but then he zooms out again, right? To geopolitics, global power, national identity. How does his philosophy connect there?
Well, he makes a pretty bold claim. He suggests that while India might look to align with, say, America or Russia now, his belief is that everyone should walk with India if India walks with Shiva. He sees Shiva as this universal force watching us all, giving us life itself. It's a call for a global shift, really, rooted in his spiritual view.
And that spiritual conviction also makes him quite critical of certain things he sees in the media, attacks on faith, as he puts it.
Very critical. He gives a really specific example, a book, Kalima, a collection of short stories. His issue is with the cover image, which he describes as showing the Hindu goddess Devi Kali being hanged.
Okay.
And for him, that's not art. He calls it an open challenge to Sanatan, to India, to faith, an assault. He questions if insulting Hindu deities has become some kind of new rite. It shows how deeply he feels certain lines are being crossed.
And his reaction is, well, strong. He attributes this perceived assault to specific ideologies.
He does. He says, in his view, jihadi thought and left-wing ideology are behind these things. He contrasts their method using the pen, meaning intellectual or media influence, with what he calls the sword or weapon of the right wing.
That's quite the framing. And he uses some powerful language to express his own feelings, too, right?
Incredibly powerful. He says his blood has been boiling for 101 years, which is, obvious hyperbole, but it really conveys this deep, almost generational sense of grievance and passion.
Wow, 101 years. And just to be clear for everyone listening, these are very much the speaker's own perspectives and interpretations we're discussing here, directly from the source material. We're reporting on his views, not endorsing them ourselves.
Exactly. It's important to understand his worldview as presented in the video. And this passionate stance then connects to another really striking point. He makes this economic ethical dilemma.
Right, let's unpack that one. It sounds quite stark.
It is. He presents this argument, and interestingly, he attributes it to AI.
Oh.
Yeah. He says it costs 55 times less to eliminate world hunger than it does to produce weapons. He even gives a specific cost comparison in Indian rupees.
Yeah.
If ending hunger costs 1 point at euro, making weapons costs 100 euro.
55 times. That's a huge difference.
It is. And he throws out a statistic, 34.6 crore people, that's 346 million, still hungry worldwide. Yet he says, look at the resources pouring into weapons. It's a sharp critique of our global priorities.
And his conclusion from this is pretty bleak initially. Man has become man's enemy.
Yes, he says that. And he blames something he calls history's law for embedding this mindset in us. It sounds quite fatalistic, but then he immediately pivots again.
Right. He brings it back to this fundamental choice for humanity, doesn't he? Are we going to raise kids filled with hate, leading to our own extinction, basically? Or do we sow love and actually try to build that heaven on earth?
Exactly. That's the core question he leaves us with. And his solution isn't just wishful thinking. He proposes something concrete. He ends with this call to action, inviting people from all religions to come debate on his channel.
A debate.
Yes, but with a specific goal. He believes this dialogue can actually initiate a new legal system. So for him, the conversation itself is the first step towards building a new framework for how we all live together. A practical path towards his vision.
Wow. Okay, what a journey through one person's worldview. It's pretty incredible how he weaves together ancient beliefs, modern tech, personal feelings, global politics.
It really is. It touches on so many facets of life today, and it really highlights that tension, doesn't it? Our amazing ability to create, but also to destroy. And through it all, his belief in love and understanding as the way forward just shines through. You can't deny his passion.
Absolutely. Which leaves us, and you listening, with a final thought, perhaps building on his ideas. If we really do have the technology, the knowledge, the means to solve huge problems like hunger, even to rethink our basic relationships, what is it that's actually stopping us from building that heaven on earth? And what's our own part in challenging that history's law that, as he puts it, makes us enemies? Something to definitely mull over.